Welcome back, everyone, and thank you so much for taking a few minutes out of your day to be here with me. Because what we're talking about today is something that has a lot of people stunned, excited, confused, and asking big questions all at the same time, especially with Christmas just around the corner and wallets already stretched thin across the country. Over the past 24 hours, headlines have been lighting up social media feeds, news alerts, and comment sections with one number that immediately grabbed attention: 1,176. At first glance, a lot of people weren't even sure what that number meant or who it applied to, but as details began to emerge, it became clear that this wasn't just a random figure. It was a deliberate number, loaded with symbolism, history, and political messaging, tied directly to America's founding year of 1776 and now connected to a brand new payment initiative announced by President Donald Trump. According to the announcement made during his address, checks are already being processed and mailed, and in some cases deposited, to eligible recipients. That alone is enough to make people sit up and listen, especially at a time when many Americans are used to hearing promises of future relief that never quite materialize. This time, however, the message was different. The president emphasized that these payments are not hypothetical, not conditional, and not waiting on a future vote. They are already moving through the system. The payment being discussed is officially being referred to as the Warrior Dividend, and it is targeted specifically at active and qualifying reserve military service members. Nearly 1.45 million individuals are expected to receive this one-time payment of 1,776 delivered just days before Christmas. For many military families, that timing alone makes the announcement especially meaningful, as the holiday season often comes with added financial pressure, travel costs, and family obligations. During his remarks, President Trump framed the Warrior Dividend as both a thank you and a tribute. He pointed directly to the year 1776, the birth of the nation, and described the payment as a symbolic acknowledgement of the role the military has played in defending the country from its earliest days to the present. He made it clear that this payment was not intended to replace existing benefits or pay structures, but rather to stand alone as a bonus meant to honor service. What surprised many viewers was how casually the president mentioned that the checks were already on the way. According to his comments, even some people inside the room did not immediately grasp the significance of what he was announcing until moments later. That sense of surprise spilled over into public reaction, with social media quickly filling up with screenshots, clips, and debates over who qualifies and how soon the money would arrive. The Department of War, through its official channels, later confirmed the details of the Warrior Dividend. The payment applies to active duty service members in pay grades 06 and below, as well as reserve component members who were on active duty orders of 31 days or more as of November 30th. The dividend is being issued as a non-taxable supplement, meaning recipients will receive the full $1,176 without federal taxes being taken out. Officials stated that approximately 1.28 million active duty members and around 174,000 reserve members meet the eligibility criteria. For those who qualify, the payment is expected to arrive before December 20th, either through direct deposit or traditional mail, depending on how the service member normally receives their pay. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth expanded on the meaning behind the payment, explaining that the Warrior Dividend is meant to reflect the upcoming 250th anniversary of the United States and the long history of military service that predates even the nation's formal creation. In a video posted online, he emphasized that the year 1776 represents more than just a date in a textbook. It represents sacrifice, uncertainty, and commitment, values that modern service members continue to embody. Hegseth described the dividend as a modern expression of gratitude, linking the nation's revolutionary roots to the present-day joint force. He also highlighted that the funds for this payment were made possible through provisions in what the administration has repeatedly referred to as the One Big Beautiful Bill, legislation that combined multiple policy initiatives into a single package. That same bill, according to the president, also lays the groundwork for sweeping tax changes set to take effect next year. During his address, Trump claimed that these changes would result in what he called the largest tax cuts in American history. He specifically pointed to provisions eliminating taxes on tips, overtime, and Social Security benefits for seniors, arguing that these measures would significantly reduce the financial burden on working families and retirees alike. The president went on to state that under these tax changes, Many families could see annual savings ranging from $11,000 to $20,000. He also projected that next spring's tax refund season could be the largest ever, driven by a combination of tariff revenue and the new tax structure outlined in the legislation. That mention of tariffs brings us to the second major topic that has people talking just as much as the Warrior Dividend, if not more: the proposed $2,000 tariff dividend payments for Americans nationwide. Unlike the Warrior Dividend, which is already being distributed to a clearly defined group, the tariff dividend remains a promise tied to future implementation, likely in mid to late 2026. President Trump has repeatedly stated his commitment to issuing these $2,000 payments, framing them as a way to return tariff revenue directly to the American people. According to his remarks and subsequent statements from the White House, these payments are intended to offset higher prices that resulted from aggressive tariff policies implemented during his administration. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has added further detail to the discussion, suggesting that eligibility for the tariff dividend would likely be income-based. In comments reported by major outlets, Bessent indicated that individuals earning less than approximately $100,000 per year would be the most likely recipients. While final details have not been set, this income cap provides the clearest picture so far of who may qualify. Trump himself has hinted at similar criteria, stating in a post that the payments would go to everyone except high-income earners. Analysts interpret this to mean that the administration is aiming to target middle and lower-income households, which have been hit hardest by rising costs for groceries, housing, and everyday essentials. Financial experts estimate that if a $100,000 income cap is used, as many as 120 million Americans could qualify for the payment. Covering those payments would require roughly $240 billion, a figure that has sparked debate among economists and lawmakers about feasibility and long-term impact. Supporters argue that returning tariff revenue to taxpayers could provide meaningful relief and stimulate consumer spending. Critics, however, warn that the numbers may not fully add up and that such payments could have unintended economic consequences if not carefully structured. Despite those concerns, the White House has signaled that it is exploring multiple pathways to deliver the tariff dividend, including mechanisms that may not require direct congressional approval. Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt has confirmed that economic advisors are actively examining options, though specifics remain limited. What makes this moment particularly notable is the contrast between the certainty of the Warrior Dividend and the uncertainty surrounding the tariff payments. For military families, the $1,176 payment is tangible and immediate. For the broader population, the $2,000 tariff dividend remains a future promise, one that will likely dominate political and economic discussions heading into 2026. The administration has also tied both initiatives to broader claims about economic momentum. Trump pointed to record military enlistment numbers, contrasting them with what he described as historically poor recruitment figures the year before. He framed the Warrior Dividend not only as a reward, but as evidence that morale and confidence are rebounding. Whether one agrees with that assessment or not, there is no denying that the announcement has generated intense interest. For service members receiving the dividend, it represents a rare and direct acknowledgement of their role. For civilians watching closely, it raises questions about what may come next and whether similar direct payments could become more common. As we move closer to 2026, the administration has hinted at additional changes on the horizon, including further tax adjustments, benefit updates, and potential shifts in Social Security policy. While details remain scarce, the promise of continued updates has kept audiences tuned in and eager for clarity. At the same time, global conflicts and domestic economic pressures continue to shape the broader context in which these announcements are being made. That reality adds another layer of complexity to discussions about spending, revenue, and long-term fiscal strategy. For now, the focus remains on what is concrete. The Warrior Dividend is real, it is happening, and eligible service members should expect to see the payment imminently. The tariff dividend, while still speculative, has been stated clearly enough to warrant serious attention. As always, I'll be keeping a close eye on every development, every official statement, and every piece of legislation related to these payments and the broader economic changes being discussed. If you appreciate staying informed and getting these updates broken down in plain language, please take a quick second to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what's coming next. And if you're looking for additional ways to support your household financially, be sure to check out the resources linked below, including tools for saving on insurance, mortgages, and other major expenses. Every little bit helps, especially in times like these. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with me. I truly appreciate your support, and I'll continue to bring you the latest updates as soon as they happen. Take care, God bless, and I'll see you in the next one.